Day 4 of Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. This morning, the gun store employee will be back on the stand when court resumes.
If you missed it yesterday, Gordon Cleveland, the gun shop employee who actually sold Biden the firearm, he took the stand and testified about the day the president's son came into his store.
There's been a lot of graphic testimony over the past few days. Trial attorney and law professor Danny Karon is joining us now to basically sort through all these details. Danny, it's a lot to get through. Good morning.
Good morning to you, too.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. So, Danny, the gun store owner testified that he told Biden to read the ATF background form carefully, and he saw him check no next to the question about whether he was an addict or a drug user. That, of course, is the alleged lie at the center of this case. Tell us how that testimony is going to affect the defense's case.
Well, we've got to be very particular about what the alleged lie is. The form said, are you? Not have you ever been. And the defense is going to argue that, hey, you know what? He might have been, but he wasn't anymore, which is why it was okay to check the box. Prosecution's going to say, never mind that. Once an addict, always an addict. And past performance indicates, future behavior. And if you were an addict before, as chronicled by all of his ex-relationships, you had to have been an addict at the time you signed the form. That's why you lied. All the action and traction in this case is going to come down to semantics and definitions.
Wow. Well, that's an important point there. We also heard from Hunter Biden's ex-wife and his ex-girlfriend. They painted a salacious picture of his past drug use, in fact, but there were some holes in both of their testimonies that were brought out. What are those holes, and how is this going to potentially affect the case?
The holes did not help the prosecution. Now, his ex-wife, Kathleen Buell, said, hey, listen, we were married 24 years, but I never saw him use. That doesn't help the prosecution. His girlfriend, the dancer from the club, Zoe Keston, said, I saw him use routinely, but only up to 3 weeks before he purchased the gun. I don't know, and I can't testify to what happened from that time to when he got the gun. And again, if Hunter Biden didn't perceive of himself as an addict at the time, he could perfectly plausibly have checked the box no, because it's a subjective standard. That's what the defense wants the jury to believe. So the testimony from the exes did not help the prosecution.
Interesting. Okay, Danny, so Biden's ex-girlfriend testified that even after smoking crack, his demeanor never changed. In fact, she said Hunter Biden was super charming and that everybody loved him. Can you explain why that is so important?
Now that helps the prosecution. Now you see in the movies, somebody walks into a gun shop, they got the bloodshot eyes and they're all rabid, they're totally high. That's not how Hunter Biden presented at the gun shop, according to Gordon Cleveland. He was completely lucid and functional. Did that mean he wasn't high? Not necessarily, because Zoe said he was like that even when he was high. So he might have been high at the time he went in, and that could bridge that gap, according to the prosecution, again, going to this knowing issue.
So, Danny, with all of these points that you just laid out for us, in your opinion, what does the prosecution now need to do in order to solidify this case?
Well, I think they're doing the best they can to create inferences that he was high at the time, he checked the box, and he knew it. Not that somebody else knew it, but that he knew it. Or maybe both. That would actually bolster the prosecution's case. What I think the prosecution wants to guard against is the potential for jury nullification, which is where the jury, despite the facts and the law, does its own thing because they feel bad and sympathize for the defendant. So in that manner, even if he was high at the time and checked no and lied, they could say, nothing, never mind, low-grade offense. We feel really bad for him because of this history of tragedy with his mother and his sister and his brother dying. Who wouldn't be like this? Stories of redemption and recovery not only play well in Hollywood, they play well in the courtroom. And that might be something that the defense is secretly, quietly developing for the jury to consider outside everyone's presence because they make their decisions in secret.
Interesting. Well, we will definitely continue to watch as this plays out in the courtroom. Attorney Danny Karon. Danny, thank you for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.